My name is Martin, and I had everything. A successful business, a luxurious house, wealth, and most importantly, a beautiful wife, Lizzie. She was the love of my life, my pride, my happiness. For 5 years, I believed we had a perfect marriage. But what I didn't know was that the person I trusted the most was betraying me behind my back. At first, everything was perfect. Lizzie and I spent time together, went on vacations, had deep conversations, and shared dreams. But as time passed, things started changing. Lizzie became distant. She started going out more often, making excuses to leave the house. One evening, I asked her, "Lizzie, why do you go out so much these days?" She barely looked up from her phone and replied, "Oh, Martin, I just need some fresh air. Staying home all day is boring." I frowned. "But we hardly spend time together. You used to love staying home with me." She sighed. "Martin, I have friends too, you know? I can't just sit at home all day waiting for you." Her words stung, but I let it go. Maybe she just needed space. But soon, things got worse. She stopped calling me when I was at work. She stopped waiting for me at dinner. She stopped asking how my day was. One evening, I came home early from work, hoping to surprise her. But she wasn't home. I called her. "Lizzie, where are you?" She sounded distracted. "Oh, I'm just at my parents' house." I paused. "That's strange. I just called your mom. She said she hasn't seen you in a week." There was silence. Then she quickly said, "Oh, I just left their house. I'm with a friend now." A cold feeling settled in my chest. She was lying. But why? One evening, I came home and saw Lizzie standing outside with Jacob, our driver. Jacob had been working for us for 2 years. He was young, fit, and always respectful toward me. But that evening, something felt different. Lizzie and Jacob were laughing together. She placed a hand on his arm, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. I stepped forward. "What's so funny?" Lizzie quickly pulled her hand back. "Oh, Martin, you're home early." Jacob cleared his throat. "Just discussing car issues, sir." I forced a smile. "I see." Lizzie quickly changed the topic. But that night, I couldn't shake off the uneasy feeling. The way Lizzie looked at Jacob, I had seen that look before. It was how she used to look at me. As days passed, Lizzie's behavior grew stranger. One night, as she was getting ready, I asked, "Where are you going?" She avoided my eyes. "Just meeting some friends." I smiled. "I'll come with you." She hesitated. "No, you'll be bored. It's a girls-only dinner." I nodded, pretending to believe her. But as soon as she left, I decided to follow her. I took my car and kept a safe distance. To my horror, Lizzie didn't go to a restaurant. Instead, she met Jacob at a quiet cafe. They sat close, talking, laughing. Then, Lizzie placed her hand over his. My heart pounded. What was happening? I clenched my fists and drove away. I needed proof. A few days later, I told Lizzie I had a business trip. But instead of leaving, I stayed back and followed her. She left the house and got into the car with Jacob. I followed them, my hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. Minutes later, they stopped at a quiet park. I parked nearby and watched. And then, I saw it. Lizzie turned to Jacob and kissed him. Not just a small kiss. A deep, passionate kiss. My whole world shattered. I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath me. The woman I loved, the woman I trusted, was in love with my driver. Fury boiled in my veins. I stepped out of my car and stormed toward them. What the hell is going on here? I shouted. Lizzie and Jacob jumped apart, their faces frozen in shock. Lizzie, stammering, Martin? What are you doing here? I clenched my jaw. What am I doing here? The real question is, what are you doing here? Jacob stepped back, guilt written all over his face. I turned to Lizzie. You lied to me, Lizzie. You told me you were meeting friends. But here you are with him. She looked away. Martin, I can explain. I laughed bitterly. Explain? You were kissing my driver, Lizzie. What explanation do you have for that? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Because there was no excuse. That night, I made a decision. I walked away. Lizzie ran after me. Martin, please, let's talk. I turned to her, my voice cold. Talk? Lizzie, you had so many chances to talk. But instead, you chose to betray me. Tears ran down her cheeks. It was a mistake. I shook my head. No, Lizzie. A mistake is something that happens once. But you chose to cheat. You chose to lie. And now you've lost me. I looked at Jacob one last time. Enjoy your time together. Because one day, Lizzie will betray you too. And with that, I walked away. That night, as I sat alone in a hotel room, staring at the city lights, I realized something. I had lost Lizzie, but I had found my self-respect. And that was worth more than anything. But I knew one thing for sure. I deserved better.